Jack, welcome, man. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being on.
That's good, Adam. Thanks for having me, brother. Really appreciate it.
Of course, man. How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. It's a beautiful day out right now. Top of the week, ready to get the week going.
I love it,
Got a
dude.
lot of stuff in the works. So, it's yeah, summer's here. It feels fantastic.
Dude, we got a lot to cover. I know you do got a lot. You got a lot of things coming up. You have a fire new single out called Money Memories. You have a new clothing line that's about to come out called Pastel, and even more so, which is kind of like why you're here. You launched your own social token, your own cryptocurrency,
Yes, sir.
with the abbreviation of Pastel. The ticker is PSTL, and like you're very, very I guess, early to the space, one of many, I guess, one of a few creators at least that have kind of experimenting with this new space that has really been a lot more for like DeFi, like decentralized finance, more traditional investment. And now you're one of the few people who's actually taking it and making it more creative and building communities around it. And I'm excited to have you on. So let's just dive into it. Okay. I want to start with the basics. Tell me a little bit how you kind of got your start as a popular personality online, and then how that kind of transitioned into the music scene.
Yeah, so me and my buddy Jack Linsky, I think it was probably around junior year, summer, going into senior year. The app Vine was a massive, sensation at the time. Everyone and their mom was on there, just consuming these 6.5 second looping clips. And me and G were just very consistent. We made a lot of, comedic sketches, a lot of, music covers, and really every single day we'd be uploading in some sort of facet. And it was crazy. It just sort of exploded over the course of the next couple of years. And we were still in Omaha, Nebraska, actually at this time, and we linked up with some local producers who saw some of our covers on there. They really wanted to get us in the studio making actual tracks, and so we ended up making our first 4 or 5 records we released just out there to our fans, fully independently. With our buddies Travis and Turner Eakins, there were also two local kids who just reached out to us, and it was great. We got a great response. It allowed us to come out to LA, link with bigger producers, and just start to kind of really kind of get our toes in the water in any way possible. And so, we noticed once we got out here, the quality of the music just kept increasing. And now it's at a point where we feel like the music, it has really caught up, if not exceeded, our following, which was, it was a little difficult at first to be taken seriously with the stigma around us being like, oh, these Vine kids, these social media kids. But at the end of the day, any artist you see coming into the forefront of the limelight these days, I think has some sort of stake in social media, and a lot of their growth, especially now more than ever, is due to social media, due to a clip going
Sure.
viral, due to something happening that puts them into the ether space, and just everybody can view their shit. That's what's so amazing about social media. And so I think over time, with enough big records, with enough late night performances, award show performances, I think we really started breaking that stigma and showing people we were real artists. And so yeah, now we're sort of detaching from the hip, just trying to be a little less codependent on one another, because there's certain things G's into that I'm not into, certain things I'm into that he's not into. And musically, we thought it would be a good opportunity for us to really showcase what we can do as individuals, as opposed to having to compromise in a sense on every record, between his singing, my rapping, or whatever it may be. And so
Yeah.
it's been a very exciting, the first single of my project, my Jack J project, came out about, I think, September last year. And so it's been almost a year, probably like 8 to 9 months, since we've kind of been on these independent journeys. But it's been awesome, man. It's been quite a journey, and it's really, I think, everything. I'm a big believer in the butterfly effect. Everything that's happened has led me to this point. Sitting here talking to you. So it's been a wild journey. It's been very exciting, though.
I love it, man. I'm curious though, because you have a very unique creative process. I remember I was on Vine just like everyone else. I remember seeing you and Jack, and alongside like the Nash Greers of the world, the Cameron Dallases, that whole crew, that original like hype house. You guys like were the OGs, right?
Yeah, low
Uh,
key. I think about it.
Dude, high key. That shit's high key. But I'm curious more about your creative process, because I know you're not very big on genres, right? So how do you approach and decide, I guess, what you're going to spend your creative energy on?
Yeah, that's a good question. I like to think my favorite artists personally are the artists who kind of, I think, time and time again showcase their versatility. Don't get stuck on the same sound in terms of music, for sure. Don't get stuck on the same sound, and can kind of get outside of the box of what people want to put them in. And can always change that box, can always expand the edges in a sense. And so to me, like every record, I think the consistency between them when I put out music is my tone, is like, the way I sound. But I like having some slower records, some more upbeat records, some records where I'm purely singing, some records where I'm purely rapping. To me, it's about showcasing what you can do across the spectrum, you know, because then there's going to be a record that could potentially hook in anybody from any genre. It's like, let's say somebody loves R&B music, you know, I have some slower, you know, just guitar centric like records that, so the whole goal for me is sort of to cover the soundscape with my music, while still being consistent in terms of my tone, in terms of my vocal delivery. And yeah, I think I just want to be ever changing, ever evolving. I think that's what any artist should aspire to be. Cause you know, the times of music are always changing, you know, people's tastes are changing month by month. You know, it's a quick change, you know, out of nowhere, this punk rock kind of vibe came out,
Right.
MGKs and the Youngbloods. And so it's interesting, just watching the landscape change and attempting to change with it. And also more importantly, attempting to be on the forefront of the change and be the one who spurs the change, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what I would say, my process is like. It could start off with any given thing. It could be a beat. It could be a lyric, just like a creative bar that I have in my head that I want to base an entire song around. But in terms of the actual music, I always, the key thing for me is to showcase my versatility from record to record, for sure.
Yeah, and I scoped out your Insta page, and I think I was even a follower of yours. I might have been during Vine, or however the way their algorithm worked. But I remember also the creative process and kind of creating these videos and this content and tying it to the music is also unique within itself. And that also, I feel like, ties into your inspiration for launching your token, right?
Yeah.
So how does that kind of like melt together, like from the process of creating these really dope, unique videos that really play on comedy, right? You're trying to create good energy, make people happy, and then also tag along this really sick music. And now you're doing this token. Like, how does that kind of all synergize together?
Yeah, it's really kind of cool how it came about. So we ended up we had a conversation with the guys over at Yellowheart, which they kind of onboarded the Creator Coins, the Creator Coin, I guess, establishment on the Rally network, which is really cool. But there's about 130 creators on there right now. I think I was probably one of the first like 60 or 70. I got in there pretty early. And essentially what we wanted to do was create this ecosystem within my Pastel world, within the Jack J world, where the people who really like are true supporters of me can get early access to things and can be incentivized to be coin holders of the Pastel coin. And so essentially what we've done with it is anytime we release a new single, a new video, or we just want to do something exclusive for the fans. I know you mentioned we have the streetwear line coming out soon, so I'll get to that in a second. But what we like to do is have some early access for anybody who's a coin holder, a Pastel coin holder. And so one of our biggest utilities is we have a subsection of my Pastel Discord where it's coin holder exclusive. And so if you are a coin holder, you get verified within that subsection of the Discord. The night, let's say, before I release a song, I'll go on there with a group of people, depending on how many are in there. I think it's limited to like 25 people per subsection chat room in terms of the video calls. And so some nights, if there's 100 coin holders who want to be in there, I'll do 4 separate rooms back to back to back to back. And I'll essentially preview them the song, let them cut their cameras on, get their first takes on it. It's just a way for us to be more intimate with the people who really support us as creators. And it's awesome because I think it helps the coin in general. You know, it incentivizes people to buy the coin and to hold on to the coin, more importantly, because we're in this day and age where people are just looking for the quick flips. So, you know, they're doing all these meme coins and shit coins that just like, you know, they're looking just to fucking, excuse my language, just to catch that spike and just, you know, cash out. And it's kind of like the anti-approach we're trying to take. You know, we want this coin to be something that's it has longevity and it's been great, you know, outside of like the actual increase that the coin's value has had since release. I think the utility just becomes more and more fruitful with each release and with each thing we're doing. And so with the streetwear line, we're going to have an exclusivity period, whether it's a weekend or a full week. We haven't quite gotten to the details of it, but we want to make sure coin holders have first access to buy stuff before it sells out, before the general public has access to it. Yeah. If you're a coin holder, we're gonna have a way to verify you through our Shopify website and make it so if you purchase, you have a chance to get more Pastel coin. And you know, if you're one of the early purchasers who has Pastel coin already, you have a chance to get more Pastel coin. And on top of that, nobody can buy it when you buy it. And so you have first dibs on everything. And so whether it's music videos, streetwear, any way that we can incentivize people to hold on to the coin and be a coin holder, the better. And so yeah, it's been great. The growth in the community has been absolutely stunning. I'm starting to see people who like may not even know who I am, just like, you know, putting money into the coin because they've seen its growth and seen the hype around it. And it's been awesome. You know, it's been a very cool way to kind of create our own economy in this world.
Right.
And also utilize this newfound cutting edge crypto space that, you know, not many people have tapped into yet. So
Yeah, no, there's so much to unpack there because you just talked about the utility behind the token, your inspiration behind doing it. Now you're actually building a community around it, and you're able to basically centralize your more hardcore fans in a way, and incentivize them and create more unique and intimate experiences for them, and also rewarding them along the way for their contribution. And it's a lot of what I kind of want to dive deeper into. But how long have you been in crypto for? Like, what's the story behind that? How did you how'd you get into it? Because everyone has like their unique story behind getting into the space.
Of course. I was like a very menial coin holder, and you know, I had a little Ethereum, a little Bitcoin, like for, you know, the past couple years. Never really paid it like too much mind. I was like, okay, like I have friends who are telling me to go all in on this shit, and then I also have friends like my traditional portfolio manager who's back in Omaha, Nebraska, where I'm from. He's always been like the biggest like naysayer against, like, you know, like he doesn't trust crypto because he works in a more traditional sense. And so it was kind of like in my mind, I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm fully sold on it yet. And then I think really within the last year, after seeing just the way that crypto has been moving and the belief of the people really just rising day by day, and the fact that I really think this could be the new currency, you know, across the world, whatever it may be. I think whether every country has their own crypto, there's something very interesting there because it's decentralized, which is very, very cool. You know, it doesn't fluctuate based off of, you know, the price of the dollar or anything. It's based. What I notice is a lot of it is based off of the belief of the people, which I think is kind of the case with a lot of more traditional stocks in that sense. But yeah, the more hype you can generate around something, which what I've noticed is like something I'm good at is generating hype, whether it be around a record or around a video or a piece of content. That's sort of like how I started my career, you know, is just creating these viral moments and creating these impactful clips in whatever medium they may, you know, come from.
Right.
And so with crypto, it felt like it was at this point where we see all these new coins coming out week by week, and it's hard to know which ones to trust. So creating my own coin with an actual utility behind it seemed like something really interesting, and that something that could really you know, just keep my fan base locked in and make them double down on my coin, which, you know, I already believe in as you know, a creator. But when you're getting early access to stuff and so I guess back to your question, how did my crypto journey start? Honestly, through a lot of just like friends kind of like putting me on the game and you know, learning me the process. And I feel like I didn't really have too much of a grasp of it up until I made my creator coin and realized, you know, how it was minted and started actually, you know, converting actual coins to one another through, you know, whether it be Uniswap or MetaMask, and like actually like creating my own profiles on all of these things and learning the ins and outs. You know, I had to sit down for a few hours to figure out how to even do my first, like, you know, MetaMask transfer. And so it definitely was a process, but I think it was something that I had to be forced to learn to do via my own creator coin. Yeah. And now I feel like I have a much better grasp on the space. Like, definitely nowhere near an expert, you know, like I'm probably like, you know, in the kindergarten phase in terms of crypto, whereas most people I think are probably in, you know, nursery school. So at least I have a little edge up on some people, but it's been really exciting, man. And I think, you know, I'm looking to get way more into it in the upcoming years. It seems like the future for sure.
No, you're like for sure the future, right? The fact that you're already messing with Uniswap, you're opening a MetaMask, you're transferring token from one point to another point. I guess my next question is why end up going with Rally versus creating like your own, I guess, ETH based token? And what do I mean by that, right? Rally has a really easy way to onboard creators, mint tokens, like you said. But then you also experienced yourself like the other half of messing with Uniswap, opening up a MetaMask. Like, why go through the Rally route versus, I guess, the more traditional ERC20 token or the traditional ETH token? You know,
yeah, that's a good question, because, you know, in order to like transfer any of these creator coins from Rally, you have to have like some grasp of, you know, how to go from. It was definitely a process, because Rally actually does this thing called the rewards program, where it incentivizes people who hold coins. And every week, based on how many people are buying the coin, how much money is going into the coin, if you're a coin holder, based on whatever percentage of the entire pot that you own, you will get incentivized with more Rally coins
right,
every single week that you can put back into the creator coin to keep supporting them more so, or, you know, you can cash them out. And so in order, if you do want to cash out the rally coins, I noticed you have to create a few other profiles using these different applications. And so I think Rally, I really liked just the look of the website. It was very clean. And they seemed like they were the most interested in what I had to offer. They really took time to like listen to my vision, and everybody on the team like really thought that what I had to offer was something very interesting and something that we could incentivize. And so, yeah, it felt like
makes sense. Yeah.
having a partner who actually had more of a grasp, and like me just trying to create my own ERC20 token, shot in the dark type shit. It seemed like they had a great platform and a great team that already could, help me fill in the missing pieces that I didn't quite understand yet at the time.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, these platforms, they make it very easy for people to kind of get onboarded. And on the other end, they provide cool tools for their audiences to kind of create accounts and to use those tokens and whatnot. So when you were kind of pitching them your vision, what was that exactly? What were your goals behind doing something like this?
Yeah. So to give you a little backstory on Pastel in general, the whole brand is based off just, I want to push the people who support me and people who may not even know me and who just like happen to cross the brand in the internet space, wherever they may see it. It's an acronym, actually. It stands for Progression Always Starts Through Experiencing Life. And so to me, like the pastel colors, like this, for example, like this pastel pink, they're sort of like the intermediary color, the progressive state of any given color. Let's say like just pure white is like 0% saturation, and then a full vivid, like thick, pink, like a hot pink is 100% saturation. This is sort of like in that 30th to 70th percentile in terms of saturation. So I like to view it as the progressive state of any given color. So the color waves, the branding behind everything, the logo, it's all in pastel tones, which to me represent growth. They represent, you trying to push yourself every day. It's our goal as humans to try and saturate our palette of life day by day and try to get it as vivid as possible. But at the end of the day, there's always room for improvement. So we are all pastels. We're all ongoing works. And that's sort of the whole mantra and just theme behind Pastel. And so I think that really caught their attention because it seems like something the youth really need right now too. I mean, I think anybody needs it in general, but obviously like, with my fan base and the people that I'm targeting more so in the mediums that I'm on, I'm definitely targeting the youth in my generation and the generation beneath me. I think we live in this world where it's so easy to fall into this funk of just, being a slave to technology and just like, letting your priorities and your goals go to the wayside because there's all this content you can just consume. And I've even been in periods of my life where like, I feel like I'm just wasting time and just like scrolling through content on my phone. And I'm like, what did I just do for the last 2 hours, Yeah. And so the goal is, and of course, like this is where I made my money and, made my name was through this content. So like, I'm not knocking content consumption and content creating. It's just about finding a healthy balance and making sure you're prioritizing your goals over anything else, especially in this day and age where it's super easy to let yourself get sidetracked with all this stuff to consume, all these video games, all these content platforms. And yeah, the whole theme behind that and the whole pitch I had in talking to Yellowheart and Rally was sort of just along those lines and just giving them my vision. And I think they were really interested, and they helped us kind of find ways and give us some initial ideas on how we could utilize the coin and make it more incentive based for the real supporters and the real fans. But
sure. Yeah,
that's the whole message behind the brand, and it's something I'm really, really passionate about. And I have a grand goal for it. Pastel Records. I want to have the pastel. I want to have my pastel studios where each room in the studio is a different pastel color theme based on whatever mood you're in that day. And this is just the infancy of the vision. The first half year, 9 months of the vision, and so I'm really excited to see what's to come. But yeah, I think Rally was just really receptive to what I was kind of putting out there.
I think the beauty behind like using these platforms, now you have TikTok and you get consumed by this like limitless feed. And it's one thing to create this content, but it's also another thing to kind of create content with a unique message that aligns a group of people under a mission, under values, under morals, right? And then funneling them into a more, I guess, widely accepted community where they can meet other like-minded people with that. And I think that's what these social tokens do, right? They allow people to kind of, one, collect something that many other people who are like-minded get to collect as well, and two, put them in an environment where they get interact and hang out and exchange messages, laughter, whatever it is that they want to exchange with each other, because now they have a financial stake in the brand, right? Now they have a financial stake in what they're doing. And it's interesting to see how that's kind of played out. What have you seen be the reactions from your community? Are they loving it? Were they skeptical? Well, tell me about that.
For sure. I mean, a lot of my fans, around my age or younger, a few older, not too many, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of them kind of came in a little weary when I announced the coin, especially with all these coins being promoted, which this is like, I feel like the polar opposite of all these. You see people putting up stories like all these influencers putting up stories saying get this coin, and it's really only beneficial to them because they're getting paid out in that coin, and then they're probably cashing out and like just pretty much cashing out on their fans, which is, I don't know, it's very snaky to me. And so,
dude, really quick, that's what Kim Kardashian is literally doing. She posted something on her story with this like shit coin, and she's like, they just burned half of their supply. You should go buy into it, kind of thing.
Yeah. And then she like once it rises, she's probably just cashing out, selling it. And it's interesting to me because I have a few buddies who like I really trust in the crypto space, and I did one coin promotion. And I really felt like I could trust them, and like this coin was like something that's really going to come to fruition. It had a good I think it had like a pretty good like philanthropic like utility behind it. I forget exactly what it was, but they're like, trust me, man, trust me. Like I promise you and all your fans can make a lot of money off this. And so I promoted it, and the coin was like essentially non-existent within a few days. Like it got rug pulled or whatever happened. Wow. And I felt like an asshole, I was like, if any of my fans did buy this, hopefully they didn't put too much money into it, but like, that's when I realized, like, and then I start seeing all these stories from all my influencer friends, and I'm just sitting here like, oh my God, you guys are just like just absolutely playing your fans for fools. And yeah. So even now I get like at least 5 or 6 messages every week from friends of mine, like, yo, you want to promote this in exchange for some coin? Oh, you want to promote this and I'm just like, I stopped.
I got my own coin.
Yeah, like, why would I, especially that? I'm like, when I have my own coin to promote and try to cultivate this kind of culture around, why would I be putting my time and energy into these coins that, time and time again have shown that they just don't hold up and they really have no merit behind them. And so, yeah, wait, what was your original question though? We did get a little sidetracked on that.
No, it's just like, I guess the community's feedback behind doing something like this, and you sharing that. And initially you were kind of dabbling into crypto, testing out the waters, but now it's different because now you have something that unites people internally within your community, right?
Totally.
And like I guess because of those rug pulls, right? Because of those weird experiences that people have, a lot of my assumptions when now creators launch their own tokens is like, oh, here we go, another one, right? Okay. And even more so now they're attaching their name to it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so, but I guess you're telling me that your audience actually really fucked with it. Like they liked it, they enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think once they did their research, and the great thing about Rally is they have, an FAQ section where like, if you don't know what's going on in terms of like, the creator coin space, it's a super simple, like 2-3 page read through that just answers all of your questions. And like, I think once I led my fans to that FAQ section on the website, and they actually did some research for themselves, because I would never tell anyone to invest without actually doing research yourself. I can tell you, from my personal perspective, I believe in myself, so I believe in the coin. And I believe, it's going to stay on the rise for years to come. And there's really no ceiling to it in my mind. But of course, I want everyone to do their own research and, always tread lightly and make sure you trust what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah, I think once fans actually like got a grasp of what was going on, and it's interesting because like I'm not like the whole point of this is like not to like make people a ton of money, which could be a side thing. That you can make money off of this. The coin has already risen like thousands of percentiles, which is like besides the fact. But I think once they saw my coin was actually rising in value, and on top of that, they were getting early access to everything just kind of hitting from all angles. I think the fans really started to believe, and the actual broader crypto network started to believe in Pastel coin. I saw people just putting unreal amounts of money into it, and I'm like, there's no way I know this person who just put 10 grand into my coin. Like, I doubt that's one of my fans. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's interesting to see how like the broader crypto community has taken a liking to it, and on top of that, how my fans have really just, gotten a lot of value out of it, I think,
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have any concerns or like questions, or were you scared about anything prior to launching Pastel, the token?
It's a good question. I was pretty confident in what we were doing, just because we had many like, previous conversations with everybody on the team and everybody who was behind it. And yeah, no, I feel like I was prepared and I was ready and I had a grasp of what was going on. I think if you would have asked me like 2 months before I launched the coin and like it was just laid out to me, I probably would have been like, I don't know if this is a good idea. Like, this is like literally, like, that 2 months prior, I really had such minimal crypto knowledge, and so, yeah, I think all the conversations leading up really kind of suppressed any fears I may have had, and I felt like I was very confident, especially seeing the other people on their network. Big Twitch streamers, big band. Like, I think their first person was Portugal the Man, the band Portugal the Man, and their coins at like $45 right now, like type shit. It's crazy, yeah. And so
Crazy.
like, I was seeing all these creators on there growing their coins, growing their kind of crypto expertise and their, I guess, legitimacy in that sense. And it was very interesting to me because I'm all about what's next, and this seemed like the creator coin seems like what's next. And since I've been on there, they've doubled the amount of creators in the last like 4 or 5 months, and that's only gonna triple, quadruple, exponentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think all my fears were definitely kind of to the wayside by the time we were ready for launch.
Yeah, I think the most interesting part about this is, especially from your stories, that you have such a grand following. You have such a unique audience. A lot of projects that launch in the crypto space, they typically start with nothing and build their way up to a following, right?
Yeah.
You kind of take it from the other way around. You have your millions of followers, you have your passionate members in your community and your audience, and now you're giving them a new means to kind of interact and engage with you on a more intimate level.
Absolutely.
And I think like you said, like the onboarding process is kind of difficult, but it sounds like the way you approached it, referencing documentation, were you doing any like guides yourself or like Instagram lives or like any form of content creation on your own end to kind of, I guess, educate people?
In terms of release, yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, the day we released it, I made like a minute long kind of paraphrased version of like where you can get the coin, what it's going to be used for. And we actually gave away a lot of free coin the first day. Anybody who signed up, I think we had up to 200 people, and I think we filled all 200 slots within the hour. But we said upon my announcement video, I'm like, all right, first 200 people to sign up, we're giving you 10 free Pastel coins. And this is when the coin was still at like 40 cents, like, like right when I hit the market. And to those people, like even some of my friends, it's funny because like I would tell them, I'm like, make a rally account and I will send you some coin. And this is when the coin was at 40 cents. And like when it started hitting like $8, they started hitting me back up like, wait, what did you say about that thing, dude? And I was like, okay, now you just didn't trust me, huh? But like, regardless, none of it's about like the actual, price point of the coin. To me, it's about the utility of it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So we did do like sort of like an onboarding video and told people how to get the coin, how to get free coin that first day if they wanted it. And it was good. I think it kind of eased some people's nerves because like if I just tweeted out a link like, yo, go get my creator coin, or like, when people were all doing that BitClout thing, whatever that was, I don't know, like what even was that? Was that like a
dude, like
behind that at all? Like what?
That was a really, really good social experiment that got a lot of criticism for its execution, because the criticism came in because people were allowed to send in their Bitcoin and swap it for BitClout.
Yeah.
Okay. But they weren't able to take out their Bitcoin, right?
Exactly.
I don't know where it's at today. I haven't used it since. I remember when it came out that weekend, there was a lot of talk about it. I was like, what do you mean Coinbase Ventures is behind it? The Winklevoss twins are behind it. A lot of these big known VCs that only back like unicorns and like top projects are back in this social experiment. All it is, dude, it's just like a human stock market, right? Yeah. And your price is heavily fluctuated based off a very strict bonding curve, which basically means the more people that buy into it, the higher the price goes. The higher, so like the larger the network effect, the higher the price. But it's like steep, right? Totally. And like that's why you have Elon Musk trading at like $80,000, or at least that's what it was when I remember it. And all they did, they just took like the top influencers on Twitter and tokenized them on their behalf. And there's a lot of like ethical shit behind it, whatever. But what it did do, it allowed people to think about the space more critically, and it opened conversations that otherwise weren't happening, right? So I'll give him that. It showed people the potential that, wait a minute, like I can take my brand and my influence and attach a value number to it. And wait a minute, now I can also empower my fans with that. Like, shit, like there's something here, know?
They had like a feed, almost like a Twitter like feed going too, where it was social media in a sense too, Yeah,
it was like a decentralized Twitter. That's what it was.
Honestly, I think if they made that interface like not look like it was made in like Microsoft Word, just like normal ass font, like it just looked like, I think that's what threw a lot of people off, was just like how I guess, not clean. It really looked. It kind of looked like it was typed out in a note or something.
Yeah.
But regardless, yeah, it was interesting because I noticed like a lot of these creators were on there, but like they weren't on there, but their names were on there. So I was like, everyone's like, claim your profile, your coin's already at this much or something. And then all my friends who had me claim my profile, they're like, all right, tweet it out. I think so they could, get the returns on, the initial spike. But it was very interesting. Yeah. So, but I guess outside of that, I was like, all these people trying to get me to post these meme coins and these bit clouts, and I would just rather focus on something that I know has utility within my world. And I know I have a team, around that I can actually talk to that's hands-on, that can answer any questions that I may have, especially with me being in my infancy of my crypto mind,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I forget.
It's cool because like now you have all these people hitting you up to do all these promos and shit, right? And like obviously get people's stuff out to your audience. It has an effect, but I think about this space, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you have a lot more experience in the influencer marketing side, that like if someone wants to promote something with you right now, wouldn't you basically tell them, you want me to push your skincare product? You want me to push XYZ? Buy 100,000 tokens and hold on to them. Be a core contributor, be a core member of my community. You believe in me and my audience. You want to sell to them? Fucking buy 100K worth of tokens,
That's really interesting to bring that up, dude. Wow.
Right. So like now you're like reimagining what social influencer marketing can be. Right. And now you're creating
paying me in cash or wiring me, like however many grand for a story post. It's like, okay, I want you to put that however many grand directly into Pastel.
Right. And now you do a brand deal.
My entire community.
Yes.
And show me that you actually believe in me as a person, as opposed to you just want my following,
Exactly.
Make it more. That's interesting. I think I need to start coming to some of these brands with that approach.
I'm telling you, dude. And what you could do now, imagine you approach it from this point of view. You buy 100K tokens because now you're basically telling them like, okay, and I'm thinking out loud here. Like we're getting a creative session here. All right. Yeah. You get to a point of view, like they have a skincare product, whatever. Let's just use skincare for whatever reason. Okay. Jack, I want you to promote this product. You tell them buy $50,000 worth of tokens, and you do the post, you do the Instagram story, whatever, you do the Discord post. And then they're like, now I can sell it. Now I can dump. So what you got to do, you got to be like, no, I'm locking you into a contract. You can only sell once you buy in every so often. But if you hold, we can do more collabs together, right? We can do more engagements together. And now you're building my community with me.
No, totally. Because that is the one kind of like fear that comes into my head. I'm like, if these companies, because right when they buy 50,000, the price on Rally fluctuates almost immediately. Like if you because I'll get weekly rewards and I'll put them back into Pastel the majority of every single time. It's actually interesting. I want to talk to you about, we're doing this really cool thing with the music where I'll put about like 50 to 70% of my weekly rewards. So for anybody who doesn't know what weekly rewards are in terms of the Rally Network, they, based on how active your coin is that week, they will pump Rally back into the community. So I think on our biggest week, it was about, I think like $35,000 worth of Rally that was pumped back into the community.
Crazy.
So based on how much of a percentage of the entire coin pot that you hold, you get that back into your profile in terms of Rally. So let's say you own 1% of that 35,000, you get 350 Rally back into your account that week, which is, depending on what the price of Rally is, could be $300, could be, $450.
Right.
And I tell all my friends who get their weekly rewards that I've given coins to, I'm like, just put it straight back into Pastel so we can keep this community growing. And that's what I try to tell my fans to do. So it incentivizes you as a coin holder. But what's really cool is we actually have set aside like a certain chunk of these Rally rewards. And with me being an independent artist, we have expenses. We got to pay for the streetwear line up front. For music videos, it's all coming out of my pocket, and some videos that we've done have been upwards of like, 10 to 12 grand. And so what's great about this is me being a majority coin holder. I'll get a decent chunk of these rewards every week. And we've been using that sort of as like our label budget in a sense. So we've almost turned Pastel Coin into like the label budget for the content that the fans who own Pastel Coin get early access to. It's this kind of like this awesome cycle that is allowing us to make the best content possible and incentivizing the fans to see that content early if they are coin holders themselves, and get exclusive access in whatever facet. And so it's this really, really interesting. I don't know if anyone's even doing this.
Dude, you're literally like, you're defining what it is to be a creator economy. Like it's a buzzword that people like to plug and play and freaking talk about, but that's legit like a creator economy. That's a lot of what kind of social tokens aim to do. The fact that like you can launch a token, right? You can freaking go public, quote unquote. What's the value? How are you creating circulation, right? How are you incentivizing people to buy and spend, right? And create a flow of money. It's great. I think and that's why like the whole impetus of this show is like to kind of cover these stories and to kind of share these unique ways that people are making businesses of themselves and their brands that extend beyond Web2 primitives, right? And I think you're on the cusp. You're literally doing it.
Yeah, man, and it's exciting. I feel like we're on the forefront of something that a lot of creators could be using to their advantage very soon. Musicians, artists, really anybody in any sort of medium across the creative space. I want to kind of like, almost be the guinea pig, the blueprint, and just like we're trying this thing out and it's seeming to go really well and it's seeming to be the self-sustaining economy that we're making. And it's cool. Hopefully we can eliminate the need for all these major labels to be swindling artists and, just taking taking control of their careers and absolutely making a mockery of them in time, and not actually, they're in debt to them as opposed to being in debt to them. Why not, self-sustain your own economy? If you have a network of people who believe in you, like this could be a way of the future to do it,
What's up, guys? Really quick, just want to shout out our amazing sponsors who are helping make Season 1 a reality. Season 1 welcomes Coinvise, where you can create a personal or community-owned social token on Ethereum. Coinvise also helps you create incentives through token rewards and bounties, NFT business models, and bot integrations for Discord. Go check him out at coinvise.co. Season 1 welcomes POAP, P-O-A-P, short for Proof of Attendance Protocol, which enables a novel way of creating one's life diary. Leveraging NFT tech, POAP facilitates an easy way to mint non-fungible tokens related to meaningful events. It's frequently used in crypto-native communities, and now it's starting to create NFT collectors in the mainstream too. They are hiring for roles like biz dev, key account management, and operations. You can apply by visiting adamlevy.io/POAP. That's P-O-A-P. All right, back to the episode. Let me ask you, your community, how did you even know they wanted something like this?
I don't think they knew they wanted something like this until it was, honestly.
So you're just like fuck it, let's just experiment here. Let's just try something new.
Yeah, I will say though, I did always want to I was utilizing my Twitch, which is cool. We actually have Pastel coin integrated into my Twitch profile, and you can tip in Pastel coin. You can send it to other people via Twitch. It was kind of really cool integration. But I was giving fans early access to stuff on my streams. And to me, I was like, what's a better way to do this? Instead of just giving everybody just like free open access, like what's a way to like, make it a little more exclusive instead of you can just tune into my Twitch for free, obviously, and watch this shit early. It kind of eliminated like the appeal of like, oh, I feel like I'm getting this and no one else is, And so as opposed to doing that, this coin seemed like the perfect way to do it. This kind of marketplace and network seemed like the perfect place to do it because it really provided exclusivity to the people who wanted to take the time and learn about my coin and actually get my coin, purchase my coin. And so that's how I know people are actually, somebody who's really supportive of me if they're actually, going out of their way to learn something that might be very foreign to them at first, Right. And so, yeah, that's sort of how that all came about. But yeah, I really didn't know how they were going to react. I just knew I wanted a better way to give fans exclusive content and just a way to get stuff early. And yeah, we're still trying to think of other ways that we can utilize the coin too. I feel like we're just skimming the surface at this point with early access. Because early access, like that's a very easy, like it's kind of the first thing that comes to mind when thinking about how to utilize a creator coin. Yeah. But we're trying to think more so about how we can get the fans involved. We want to do something where we have our coin holders vote on, let's say we have 2 music video treatments for the same song. And we only give access to the coin holders to view these 2 PDF treatments of the 2 documents, and they vote on which music video we're making, or like stuff that makes them feel more invested in the whole Pastel world and everything that we're creating, Golden, dude, golden. I think that's the key right there. Like how do you create, I guess more of this like DAO model, right? Like where this buzzword, for those who don't know, it's like a term that's roaming crypto Twitter. A lot of new projects are experimenting it. Basically decentralizing ownership, decentralizing governance, putting the power into the hands of the people who are making shit happen, right? And giving them a financial incentive, and I guess also like a creative incentive and like a non-equity owner like stake kind of thing, right? And I think that's definitely where shit's kind of like pushing towards. Like allow them to make decisions without like necessarily like owning any part of like me, but like they still have like, I guess, creative equity in a way where like
Yeah.
they can help curate and make these decisions and help, like whatever the vision is that the fans and like the real diehards want to see is the one that we create based off of, whichever way they vote on, like, let's say these two things. And yeah, there's a million other things we've been talking about. But yeah, we're trying to figure out in the upcoming months how to really just find more utility for the coin and integrate it more and more so every single month and every single week,
No, dude, it's super exciting because right now, okay, and I don't want to shield price, but I think it's an important factor of the Pastel community, and just kind of like talking about what that price means to you. Okay, so right now, Pastel is currently trading at what, for $4.32. When I was drafting these questions, that's what the price is. Okay, could have changed. As around 303 supporters. What does that dollar number mean to you? Because when you started, I think I saw like back February 17th, like that's when the token launched. I went all the way back to the history, and it's done really like relatively well. And if you were an early holder, you'd have reaped a lot of those benefits of growing with the Pastel community. But what does that value mean to you as an individual, as a creator? Because, and I only bring this up and think about it because you're tying a financial value to your name, right?
Yeah, totally.
What does that mean to you?
Well, to me, the value is a little more, I guess, symbolic than it is just like directly monetary, Like me being the majority coin holder of the coin, I would never, no matter what price Pastel gets to, I'm never going to sell my Pastel because that tanks the Pastel price. That's something I would never do. And so, to me, like, it's nothing I'm looking to make money off of. It's more so a symbolic value of like how there are these people that are believing in me. And like, I think if they see the price go up, it sort of motivates them as a fan of mine. They're like, okay, there's something happening here. What he's doing with this is on the increase. And it's pretty crazy, man. Like, yeah, I think we were at like $8 something before like the big dip in crypto in general. Cause I know if I'm not mistaken, Rally is backed by the Ethereum network, and there's a certain amount of Rally embedded into each creator coin. And so all the creator coins are actually minted like on the block. Like they're all like actual minted cryptos. They're not like these weird third party, like
right.
really legitimate cryptos.
Yep.
And so I think what the price really symbolizes to me is just the growth of Pastel and the belief in Pastel. And I think when other people see that price go up, I think they're more motivated to go harder for me as a fan too, and as a supporter. So
yeah. Well, what happens, Jack, when the price goes down? How does your audience kind of reply to that and react? Do they react, or is it more of like you're just in it? You're part of the ride. Like when you're a part of a community, there's always ups and downs,
Yeah. And I've prefaced that to them a million times. Like,
right.
God, I want you to buy this coin in hopes of, just making a ton of money, which if they did cash out at this point and they got in early, they have made a ton of money. But like, that's like, I want you guys to hold on to your coins when you get your weekly rewards, put it back into Pastel, or you can use that as like, let's say someone literally put in $10 in the infancy when it was at 40 cents. Now it's at $4. Mm-hmm. Their $10 is now $100. And then every week they're probably getting, 20 or 30 bucks in Rally. So like they've already made their money back essentially, like just in the Rally incentives. But outside of that, I always preach to them, we're in this for the long run. We're in this to hold. This isn't for any of us to make money. It's for all of us to, grow something special and curate a culture around this coin, more so than just like, oh, quick money grab. Like, okay, I'm going to cash out this week. Like, yeah, it's easy. And it fluctuates. It can fluctuate very rapidly too. It's the crypto. Yeah. It could be cut in half tomorrow. It could be quadruple tomorrow. It's like, there's really no telling. So
yeah. No, I think you're on the dollar. I think you're on the dollar. And I think you'll have both sides where, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but you'll have both sides where you have your fans love you, everything that you do, the content that you produce, the music that you make, they love that about you. And then you're also going to have the side of the speculators and traders who they see your social clout, right? And they want to trade that. They see the PR, the good and bad PR that comes out on you, and they're going to try to make trading decisions based off that. So I think with this market, you'll have both of those parties, but we'll get into that later. Okay. I want to talk more about the value. Okay. Because again, anybody can create a coin, but the value comes from the utility that attaches to that token, the community that rides, that's a ride and die community around that token, right? How do you approach the creative value and the utility behind your token? Like, is there some type of framework that you use? Do you kind of just look at what other people have or what you have coming up in the pipeline and ask, okay, how can I create unique experiences for my token holders before more of these passive fans kind of get access to it? Like, how do you approach that?
Yeah. So I think the first step is we we sort of scope out what's on the near horizon, in terms of like releases, in terms of projects coming out, in whatever facet, and then we sit down, me, my manager, and the people at Rally, and we haven't even added, the craziest thing is we haven't even added, there's like a utility like page on each Creator Coins like page, and we haven't actually added any specific like things on there yet. Because usually like it's something that I'll announce on my ancillary social medias leading up to a release. Like, okay, coin holders, be ready. Like we're gonna be doing something special for you. But yeah, so basically it all starts with us kind of scoping out what's on the near horizon, and then let's say we got a single coming out in 2 weeks. Okay, how are we gonna utilize the coin for that? Then we have a video coming out 2 weeks after that. How are we gonna use the coin for that? Whether that's them getting a say as like, oh, what little Easter egg do you want to put in this video? You know, coin holders vote, or you just being able to see the video before anybody else gets to see the video live on YouTube. We sort of dissect it on a project to project basis, and we've only used it for about, I think, 4 or 5 things thus far. A couple songs, a couple videos. But yeah, it's definitely, it starts with us just kind of, you know, thinking about how we can get creative and that's why I really want to start stepping out of just the early access kind of wave that we're in.
Like one thing that I see that's perfect for you, just again, thinking out loud and brainstorming, like a meet and greet, right? Like an in-person meet and greet that's solely dedicated to if you have 100 Jack tokens, you know, and, or if I'm doing a show and a concert, 1,000, like if you're holding 1,000 tokens, I have reserved 5 spots for people to come backstage, right?
Totally.
And raffle those, like, even though that's access, right? But it's also like, and it extends beyond the digital world.
The real world, yeah. And we were even thinking with some shows potentially on the horizon, some deals possibly on the table for some live shows, which is just so exciting now that, you know, this pandemic seems to be just on the taper, which is just amazing. I've been itching so badly to get back out there. But something where, you know, if you're a coin holder, you can scan something at the merch shop, or the I guess you could call it the merch shop at the show, and you get a nice little fat discount if you're a coin holder, you know, or whatever we can do that can actually take away from just the digital early access component, and you can actually get stuff in real life. We actually had this idea to this one is really cool, which I think we're gonna do. We're thinking of 3D printing actual physical Pastel coins, and then shipping them to like a diehard fan in each of the major markets around the world, and then we have them hide it somewhere, take a photo, and then like send us the photo. And then we do this, essentially, this scavenger hunt, this Pastel scavenger hunt campaign around the major markets all across the world. You know, we're thinking maybe we do like just the 10 biggest markets in the world, and we hide the coin, and then we do this Twitter campaign where we send the photo out where like the coin is in it, but like you don't know where it is, but it's somewhere within the realm of that photo in that city. And so then like we have these people scrambling from city to city trying to find the coin, and if they find the coin, they get like, let's say 500 Pastel coins, like just on the house. You know what I'm saying? Like just for my share, I just send them to you.
Dude, that's fucking powerful.
Just stuff that can make, because people who like aren't even a fan of me or even know my stuff, I think could see this on Twitter, because Twitter is just such a, like, you know, things can just blow up massively very quickly on there. And if we do it the right way, people could see this on Twitter and, you know, check the price point of the coin. Oh, it's at $5. Oh, 500. That's $2,500 if I go get that right now, you know? And the one thing we have to figure out is how do we make it so like whoever finds it doesn't just sell it. That's why, you know, we do want to keep it like kind of, I would appreciate like a diehard finding it. And I think in the most cases they would, you know, somebody who like really is a fan of me would probably end up being the one who finds it. But yeah, the one kind of like hijink there is like avoiding the person who just finds it and instantly cashes out the Pastel, drops the price of the coin a little bit. But yeah, we want to do more interesting, like you said, real life integrations that expand outside of the digital world. Because I mean, man, there's a million ways to promote this that aren't via the internet too. I think.
Check this out. Now that like concerts are coming back to life, you being a dope ass performer, a dope ass musician, probably going to be doing more music festivals and shit. LED screens everywhere. Your fans are in the crowd. You can put up QR codes and reward them for coming and checking out your set. And you airdrop them and you reward them tokens, right? For being there physically, for spending money on a ticket and coming to watch you, taking the time out of the day. Thank you. Here's 100 tokens. You know, that's
actually a genius idea, man.
Think about that. That's powerful.
Hey, Jonathan, I know you're watching this. Make sure you write.
Yeah, dude. This is like, you know, a lot of people.
Yeah, it's
so much fun. A lot of people get lost in the token price, but there's so many cool things that you can do in communities and in incentives and rewards that you can build around this stuff that you just got to know your community. You got to know what they want, what they love doing, what they love about you. and now reward them for participating, reward them for streaming, reward them for tweeting, reward them for doing all this shit, for being active members in the community.
Absolutely.
And I guess that kind of comes into play where, you know, you're trying to bridge out of the access. There's a whole nother category of rewards, right? Just for participating. And you're seeing a lot of people do the gated discords, right? But now you're starting to see that shift more as like, okay, like, I don't want people just to feel like they're spending and they're spending and they're spending and they're spending. Like, how can I give? Yeah. Let me give back. And I think that's totally like I could see that come to life 100%. I'm like thinking out loud here, but I could see that come to life.
You have a lot of great ideas on this stuff, like stuff that I really have not even thought about until you brought it up. But it's exciting because I'd never want people to feel like, you know, they have to spend money to support me. So I want there to always be a way, if you don't have money on hand, you know, if you're dead broke and you're just like a struggling college student, but you like who I am and the message I bring and just everything around my brand, I want there to be a way that you can still, you know, gain from me, not just through my content, but, you know, like a way that I can possibly put some money in your pocket. Who knows, you know, if you, and it could be something as simple as, you know, I'll pick 3 random winners who tweet out the hashtag to my new music video to win, you know, 50 Pastel coins. And then like any way that I can, you know, find a way to give back to the people who have been supporting me and actually put me in this position, undeniably, the better.
Here's another idea. Now that you're bringing that up, like a lot of projects in crypto, that have billions of dollars under management, they've now started these Dow Grants. Basically, token holders get to vote on where the money that's in the treasury that's actually dedicated to funding community initiatives, how that's spent and empowering the community. Imagine there was a Jack treasury, right? Where you had some type of form where your fans can fill out. And they basically say like, why I'm a Jack fan, how long I've been a fan for. I don't necessarily have the financial means to get access into this network. Maybe there's a grant that you have going that you can actually airdrop people just to get into that initial barrier of the Discord channel, at least, you know, and like doing it in a very charitable way that shows that, dude, I'm so for this community. If you don't have the money, just share with me why you love being a part of it. I'll make you a part of it.
I'll get you in there. I'll expedite the process and just let you. Yeah, totally, man. Yeah. And that's really like where we want to go with it, though. Like the whole treasury thing, where like there's this pot of, and it could even be like with the rally rewards that I have personally. Like we can make that like an open pot, and the fans can decide what we do with that. Because at the end of the day, that's just like essentially our label budget, and we want to make the content that the fans want to see. You know, we want to make stuff the fans want to see. We don't want to just. And sometimes, you know, I want to make executive decisions. I'm like, I think this needs something, and the people might not even know they want it yet, but like once they see it come to life, you know, based off like what I see in my head, I know they're going to be appreciative of it. But there could definitely be something where like we set a good chunk of all this aside, and this is the money for the fans to literally get together and decide what they want to do with it. We could even have moderators within like, you know, the Discord that's talking about what to do with this treasury pot, the people with access, and they can create votes. They can create, essentially they come up. I don't even have to be in there, you know, they can just do it passively. And then they're like, all right, we got something for you. We designated $5,000 of this to creating, we want sweat shorts for your next
thing. Whatever it may be, like anything that they're excited about, just empower them and create a community for them to share and get excited about it with others. Yeah,
totally, man. And it's awesome because like we've only been doing this for I think about 4 months since our coin came on the market, came on the Rally Network. And so it's crazy how like it still feels like we've been doing it for so long, just because like there's something going on with it every day. I feel like whether it's just like, us having a call with the people there or talking about what's next and how we can use the coin next. It feels like we've been doing this forever, even though it's really in reality only been like 4 months since Pastel coin has been on the Rally Network. And so, yeah, man, there's just so much potential for it to grow, and so many just cool things we can do with it. It really excites me even just thinking about it right now.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I hear you. There's so much shit going on. All right, I only got a few more questions for you. I want to be respectful of your time. All right.
You're good, man.
So I guess, look, you're obviously categorized as like an early pioneer in social tokens. You're an early adopter. Your fans are early adopters. Okay, you obviously you understand the vision behind where this could be. What do you imagine the future of social tokens kind of looking like and evolving over the next 5 to 10 years?
That's a great question. That's a really good question. I see the majority of creators having some sort of, whether they call it a token, whatever they end up calling it, something that like lives in this space that like I see everybody having their own economy in some sense within the crypto world. You know what I'm saying? And I think people are going to realize if you aren't doing that, like in 5 years from now, it's almost going to be like shooting yourself in the foot, you know? and it's hard to tell just because like the way the landscape is ever changing, just like so rapidly. But based off what I'm doing, you know, I think it's like if you have a tapped in fan base and you're not utilizing something in this space, it seems kind of like, you know, almost idiotic to me. And I don't want to like, you know, people obviously there's still we're in this very traditional world and we're not quite there yet. But even being one of the early adopters of the creator coins and the Rally Network, it's like based off what I've seen and the benefit I've gotten from it and my fans have gotten from it, it seems like a no-brainer to me. I think the majority of the creators will and should have some sort of coin, some sort of currency that keeps their fans culturally locked in together and, you know, gives them like a space to help them out, you know, and receive back and give back. And it's sort of like an I scratch your back, you scratch mine community, which is what I think a lot of these artists are missing. You know, they're kind of separated behind this barrier of like, you know, a lot of people aren't even into social media and don't even interact with their fans too much, and people still love their art. But this is a way that I feel like people can feel like they're on board with you without necessarily having to get a like on your like, you know, have to get a response from their comment or their DM.
Yeah.
It's still a way that like they feel like they can be fully involved in your process without you know, if you're not a social media person and that gives you anxiety and you don't want to be responding to messages all day. You know, I love responding to my fans, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people just aren't that into that, and I totally get it. It's not for everybody. But this is a way that I feel like they can still feel fully involved in your creative process and what you're doing, and feel like they're actually making decisions alongside with you, as opposed to just waiting for your decisions to be made and then see what happens. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
powerful,
I think
dude.
in 5 to 10 years, we're going to see a lot more. Like I think the majority of artists will have some sort of currency within their world and the brands they're trying to create. You know.
Yeah, I love that. All right, final question. So are you familiar with Black Mirror?
Very familiar, yeah.
Okay, so you know, like
Love that show.
it's coming to a point where, and I ask everybody this question. I always end up with this question. Okay, it gets to a point where you're approaching a world that everybody is gonna have, or at least a lot of these influencers, creators, musicians are gonna have a dollar tag associated with their price, with their personality, with their character, right? And right now, a lot of people in society, I think we can both agree, kind of argue your value, argue your sense of worth based off how many followers you have, right? Your influence, essentially. Do you think we're going to end up shifting to a world where you'll still have your follower count, but what people put a preface more on is what you're trading at? For example, Jack is trading at $30, but Justin Bieber is trading at $100, you know? Mm-hmm. Or Jack is trading at $100 and J Biebs is trading at $25. Is Jack more valuable than Justin Bieber?
That's super interesting. It kind of reminds me of that specific episode where everyone has like their star ranking, and like, you know, you remember that episode where like you have like your societal star ranking and like you don't have access to certain things in society. Like you can't even go to the grocery store if your star ranking is like a 3. Much darker. You know, this is a more like, I guess, like a beneficial flip on it. But I think that it really is crazy. Like right now in this day and age, people are so caught up in their followers. Like it's rare to find somebody who doesn't even have social media, A. And then B, I feel like kids will literally be ostracized because they just don't have enough followers, like in school and shit. And it's very sad. It's like people put a lot of value on what you're doing in front of the scenes and not behind the scenes. And I think that's got to change eventually. You know, people are going to realize some of the most successful people like have no followers and are just sitting here behind the scenes, and the utility, like their token or their value, like you were saying, $25, $30, whatever it may be, can be high based off of what they do behind the scenes. And I think that's what's great about these coins is my buddy Joey, he actually he works with this company called Give Power, and they're coming out with this coin called the Thirst coin, or the Thirst token. And it's like 20% of all proceeds are going to be going to donating clean water and getting clean water to people in Africa and setting up systems. And so I think the people who are doing more like philanthropic stuff and not just generating following and a buzz on the internet, I think should have a chance and should have the ability, even if they don't have a following, to have their value be just at the same as a Bieber's, you know? And so hopefully we don't live in this follower driven world where I've been, you know, trying to not even focus on like growing, like, of course I want to grow followers and like, it's great because that's like how I started and that's like, you know, where my fans come from. But like, I'm just trying to get a lot more hands-on with my actual business behind the scenes and set myself up for, you know, behind the scenes success as opposed to just on-screen success, because I love being hands-on with all my phone calls. I tell my manager, Jonathan, I'm like, I want to be on every phone call. I don't want, just to have stuff be done for me without me knowing what's going on. And I think the people who are proactive in that sense, and not just in terms of growing followers and making content, a lot of the people with the most followers make low key the worst content, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
It's like literally regurgitated bullshit that just like anybody can make, and they're just catering to like this kind of brainless audience. And I don't think those people's value should be as high as the ones who, work in the shadows and might have like, let's say 100,000 followers, but like every single one of those people really appreciates their artistic merit and appreciates what they bring to the table, as opposed to just, making the most umbrella general content, that the relatable stuff. Yeah. So I think hopefully we get to a world where and Bieber's not even one of them, because he makes great content and he has a great following.
Right.
So one of those.
No, I only bring him up obviously because.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah. You definitely didn't bring him up in that sense.
Yeah.
Like, I think the people who are just as important to society behind the scenes should have a similar price point in terms of this hypothetical price on people's worth.
Yeah. Cause this shit's like creating a public, like, in a sense, from how people understand markets, like a human stock market to an extent, right? A brand, a creator, a community stock market, essentially.
Totally.
And to see, like, just like you open your Robinhood app and you see Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, et cetera, now you're going to be seeing Jack. You're going to be seeing this person, this brand, this community. Like,
that's where it's headed, man, for sure. And I think, like, of course, if you have a following, it'll be much easier to utilize that. But I think what people fail to realize is there's so much more to having influence than just followers. You can literally not even be on social media and be one of the most influential people in the world. And I think that's what people are getting. They think the only way for me to have, a strong hold over an audience is to have a mass following. And that's just, I don't think that's the case. People are going to realize that real life matters just as much. I think we're kind of going to have this correcting in society, where like followers have become the pinnacle and the most important thing. All the brands are reaching out to the people with the biggest followers and, trying to get them on board, because that's literally what runs the social space right now, and really like the real world space right now. You just saw Logan Paul box Floyd Mayweather because of how much he brings to the table in terms of his following. But I think we're going to get to a point where like the anti almost plays in more so than the, oh, you need to have followers. And I think there's going to be this whole movement of people who are like, okay, you can have influence without having followers, and this is how you do it. And, work hard behind the scenes, and you don't have to have everything fully overexposed on social media. And I would like to see the world to get more in balance in that sense. And hopefully like those two people's price points who have the same amount of influence, but a very different following, they should be the same, when that day does come.
It's funny you bring up, first of all, I think that's a great point of view. And I think you're right. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that don't even have social followings that have done very, very, very well for themselves, and people have no idea who they are. And that also plays on the fact that like people tend to be very anonymous online, especially on Twitter. Yeah. You have all these anonymous characters, etc. But the fact that you brought up Logan Paul and Mayweather right now, just to entertain this thought, like I was at the fight. I was in Miami for the fight. Really fun fight. It was the same week as the Bitcoin conference. So we said, whatever, we'll go. But imagine if Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather had their own tokens, right? And they like, if they're playing on the sports betting game, like they're already trickling in that territory. You have Barstool Sports and all these other prediction markets kind of making bets on who will win. Will he walk out with Jake Paul? What song will he play? Imagine you can start making these bets in their native tokens, because right now all these bets, Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather, they don't see any of that, right? But if they're making bets in their native tokens and they're staking their tokens, they're making bets accordingly, making decisions and assumptions based off what's going to happen, using their native tokens, using their social currency, you've introduced a whole new game.
That's crazy, because then essentially you could like, I mean, let's say let's say Logan won that fight, yeah? He has a token. All his fans bet his token. However much, if they win, it gets doubled, let's say, or whatever the line was. Let's say.
No, he tells him this. He's like, if I win, I'm throwing a party that only token holders can get into.
Wow, right? That's crazy.
Right. And now there's a huge purchase of demand. The price goes up like crazy, right? And now he's doing a party with all of his like stakeholders, and they're celebrating, popping champagne, doing their thing. And they're all equally invested, quote unquote, right? But they're all invested.
Their win. It wasn't just Logan's win. It was their win.
Exactly.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. Yeah. Because I wonder, like, you can't, like, I have like about 130,000 coin volume, like on my, like, that's my cap right now.
Yeah.
That can fluctuate based off, people are putting money into it or whatnot.
Right.
Like, there becomes a system where you can bet your own, or you can bet crypto, you can bet your own creator token. I wonder, will there be a way like that? Will that market cap instantly double? Like, or let's say, I have like 40,000 of my tokens, like, and I bet 40,000 of my tokens, like, does that just introduce a new 40,000 on the market that are in my pocket, and like anybody else who bets doubles their shit too? Or like, I wonder how that would work, because that would just, I feel like that would make the caps go.
No, so think about it like this. Look, I don't know how rallies like tokenomic works, but a lot of these other ERC20 tokens that get launched and published on the Ethereum mainnet or on layer twos like Matic, whatever, they structure their tokenomics from all the ones that I've seen that don't rely on Roll or Rally, these centralized platforms, with a limited supply, 10 million tokens.
Yeah,
There's never going to be more. Okay. And based off that, you can make your speculations. You can fractionalize one token into a half a token, etc. You can make your bets based off that, right? So the supply cap would be hit at the top, right? And people would just kind of like, the more demand pressure there is, the higher the price kind of goes, right? The bigger the network effect, the higher the price swings. Totally. And if you're like trying to play more on the Logan Paul Mayweather thing, and he basically launches his token, he says that if I win, I knock him out, whatever. There's a party for all my token holders. There's a cap at 10,000 people. You need to have at least 10 tokens. So he makes the supply very low, but for a high volume of people, right? Or I don't know. Maybe I'm not even thinking about this right. This shit's so early. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's interesting. Yeah. There's definitely going to be a way though where you can like, I think like you'll be able to start legitimately betting your cryptos. I'm sure there already is a way where you can bet your cryptos on sports betting and shit. But I'm really interested to see how it plays out, especially when all these creators have their own tokens. They're not just promoting some other person's token, but have their own tokens.
Right?
It's crazy. There's a million opportunities to grow and just change the space. And based off all the events that are occurring, there's really no telling where it's going to go. But I'm excited for the future, man. And it's cool to kind of be in on this creator token vibe in its infancy, while it's still growing. And I think we're going to see a lot more people hop on board very, very soon. So
I love it, man. More power to you. Good shit. Thank you so much for being on. I hope to have you on again soon. Once it's more developed, you have more people and more traction.
Once we kind of implement some of these things, for sure. But
let's do it.
Awesome, man. This is definitely the longest crypto conversation I've had, and I feel like you brought a lot of great ideas to the table. That Jonathan, I hope you're writing those down.
Take it, man. Do your thing, bro. Do your thing.
Time always, and I hope to be in touch soon, brother.
You got it, man.
All right, Adam.
Peace.
Great talking, man.